It appears as though Mercedes is now sharing similarities with F1's top team, Red Bull, just not the similarities they had in mind. George Russell is starting to show signs of his desire to change the current hierarchy within the team, and his actions in the Monaco Grand Prix has left a sour taste in team boss Toto Wolff's mouth. Do we have another Verstappen-Perez situation on our hands? Let's find out. George Russell faced significant criticism from Formula One enthusiasts after he asked for permission to overtake his teammate, Lewis Hamilton, during the Monaco Grand Prix. Russell's error on the track cost him a potential podium finish in Monte Carlo, while Esteban Ocon of Alpine secured the third position instead. The unexpected rain that arrived late in the Monaco race made the final moments of the Sunday event far more chaotic than anticipated. George Russell, along with several other drivers, experienced the consequences of the slippery conditions when he veered off track at Mirabeau. This resulted in him dropping down the field and getting hit by Sergio Perez upon rejoining the track. To add to the unfortunate turn of events, George Russell received a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe re-entry onto the track. This penalty further worsened his situation, causing him to fall to 5th place. Aware that Charles Leclerc was close behind, Russell took the initiative to suggest a team strategy over the radio. He proposed swapping positions with Lewis Hamilton and vowed to stay within a 5-second margin, thus avoiding any potential penalty. Despite George Russell's strong performance and the possibility of holding off Charles Leclerc, his request to switch positions with Lewis Hamilton was firmly rejected by Mercedes team management. Whether Hamilton would have complied with the request remains uncertain, as he still had a slim chance of overtaking Esteban Ocon for 3rd place in the race. The Monaco Grand Prix witnessed a noteworthy incident where George Russell displayed a sense of entitlement based on his previous performances, leading him to adopt a somewhat assertive tone on the team radio. Following his unexpected request, Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff shared his perspective on the entire situation. Due to the dynamics within the team, George Russell's demands did not sit well with Toto Wolff. Wolff plays a mentor role for Russell while also being a friend to Lewis Hamilton. Considering the current circumstances, Hamilton still holds the position of team leader, and Russell's demands appear to be inappropriate and out of line, both in terms of the situation at hand and in general. After the race, Wolff went on to say, "He generally puts a lot of pressure on himself. That's his way. We might have to consult and coordinate. I don't think he also really thought we would swap positions. I said we are not even discussing that. Staying calm is important. Without his exit, it would have been a podium finish. We were ahead of Ocon." When looking at the bigger picture, George Russell was in contention for a podium finish. Unfortunately, he made a significant error when the weather conditions became unpredictable. He ran off the track, and his unsafe re-entry ultimately had a decisive impact on the outcome. Russell acknowledges his mistake in this regard. However, he also believes that Lewis Hamilton played a role in his missed opportunity for a podium. Russell expressed these sentiments to the media following the race. "I was being held up by Ocon and Lewis, and Charles was closing me down. I was definitely not going to risk anything on Lewis in conditions like this. It's bitterly disappointing when you do everything right for 98% of it, but that one tiny mistake costs everything." Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have had a complex relationship filled with elements of both friendship and rivalry. Russell has always had ambitions of becoming a future world champion himself, just like his teammate, a champion 7 times over. In a recent interview with Auto Hebdo, Russell took the opportunity to address his relationship with Hamilton, emphasizing that his primary focus within the team is to pursue his own aspirations of winning. Russell also highlighted that there is mutual respect between him and Hamilton, and they have maintained a healthy competitive spirit throughout their interactions, saying, "I think it has to do with the fact that we are at different stages in our careers. There's a lot of mutual respect between us. Lewis obviously has nothing left to prove, not to anyone, and I also feel that I have nothing to prove either. I am in this position because I have worked very hard, and I've earned it." According to George Russell, he and Lewis Hamilton have a positive relationship with no conflicts within their side of the garage. Russell acknowledged that when 2 drivers of similar skill level from the same generation are in the same team, it can potentially disrupt the team dynamics, but in the case of Mercedes, there is a clear understanding of who is the number 1 driver, particularly when the drivers are at different stages of their careers. Russell elaborated on the dynamics between him and Hamilton, implying that there is a hierarchy within the team that both drivers acknowledge and respect. "We don't fight for position. we just fight for the best position. You don't fight for the #1 position in the team. Mercedes debuted their supposedly new and improved W14 over the weekend in Monte Carlo, but despite the car's new features, including an actual side pod, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have received a warning that the rear of their W14 car remains problematic. Toto Wolff has acknowledged that this area continues to be a concern, even though upgrades were implemented for the recent Monaco Grand Prix. Initially, Mercedes had intended to introduce the upgrades during the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, but the race was cancelled due to severe flooding in Imola. Despite the setback, the team proceeded with the planned changes in Monaco, and the early indications were promising. Toto Wolff, in recognition of the efforts made by the team back at the factories, commended their work thus far. However, he also acknowledged that further improvements are necessary in the upcoming races, particularly regarding the rear of the W14. He said, "The car felt together, which is important, but it's still a bit nasty on the rear, so that's something which we need to dial out of the car for the next few races. But we have a new baseline, and that's important to say. Okay, this is what we have now. We've taken questions off the table where we weren't sure of, be it the front suspension or the extravaganza of our bodywork. So, let's work from here. We're good at grinding away, and the work that was done in the factories to bring the update here to Monaco from our team, it was a really big effort." With the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona approaching, Mercedes fans are filled with a growing sense of optimism. However, Toto Wolff cautions that not all the issues will be fully resolved in the immediate future. He emphasized that it will take some time before the team can iron out all the existing problems and make further progress. "I think Barcelona is not enough. I think we need to collect data. That's why we put it also here in Monaco, and to collect further analysis, which we will do in Barcelona. The next one, Montreal, is a little bit of an outlier again. But over the next races, hopefully we can really increase the performance of the car. But it's not going to suddenly be right there. That's why I'm actually pleased with the time gap that we had in Monaco. It was always a mediocre track for us, so that's okay." Mark Hughes, Formula One pundit, echoes the same sentiment, expressing that Mercedes' recent side pod upgrade will not bring about a drastic transformation in their 2023 campaign. While the Silver Arrows showcased potential with their revised car in Monaco, Hughes believes that there is still a long road ahead for the team. He shared his perspective on Mercedes' situation during an episode of the Race podcast. He said, "It probably doesn't mean that much, given this is a very untypical circuit, but it hasn't introduced any new nasties to the car. Hopefully, it's given them a good platform for them to develop on, and we'll see where it's really at come Barcelona. We can get a better picture of where they are starting from with this new upgrade. I don't think it's going to transform this season. I think it's going to inform them for next season." Do you think Mercedes should have just gone with Russell's request and let the two drivers switch their positions, or should Russell learn his place? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.